All right, Wilson, let's get moving here. We're a little behind today. We got a little chatty. Downtown Billings, 62 degrees, a lot warmer than yesterday at 6:38. And 5:30 news a little behind schedule here. But you know it's fair, accurate, you get the damn truth. And it's brought to you by the good folks at Hardin Chevrolet. Iran launched 180 missiles into Israel, missiles that we paid for. Latest series of escalating attacks in this year-long conflict between Israel, Iran, and the Arab allies. Retaliation has now been promised by Israel. It could push the Middle East even closer to a larger regional war where we will get our men and women involved. Before the attack, Israel had landed a series of blows to Hezbollah's leadership, taking out 7 of their top 10 leaders of that ruthless terrorist organization. Israel has found revenge, and they will possibly go after their nuclear facilities, and they should. There's a new poll out showing that Republicans are more likely to share the views of allies, Israel, than Democrats are. Poll was completed in September ahead of their escalated offensive after Iran's missile attacks. Half U.S. adults in the sample said that Hamas and Iran and the terrorists should bear responsibility for the continuation of this war. Most Democrats said we need a ceasefire and Israel is wrong, as the anti-Semitic view among that party continues, including from the person running for president, Kamala Harris. Well, we told you about the dock workers, 36 ports, 45,000 of them, started walking the picket lines yesterday. They are striking over their wages and the fact that the ports want to implement more automation. They want a 77% increase in their salary. The mob boss who runs the dock workers, Longshoremen Union, said, "We are going to shut down America. You're finally going to realize how important we are, and we want you to feel the pain." From car salesmen to retail stores, you'll know by the end of this strike how important we are to this country. And as those ports from Maine to Texas close, it will inhibit some of the freight going out through America. And of course, Americans, oblivious to their own surroundings, will panic. They will run to stores and buy toilet paper and not food. You're not going to need one if you don't buy the other. Longshoremen's, of course, are helping to flame the intensity of the angst of Americans. Some of these guys make as much as $200,000 a year, can make large amounts with overtime. They want 77% raise over the 6-year life of their contract. There's no way companies can make that work. Finally, about 4 or 5 days after the hurricane, Joe Biden is going to make a trip to North Carolina today. The death toll is 166. Kamala Harris will be in Georgia Wednesday. Biden will be in the Carolinas. It's one of the deadliest storms that we've had, knocked out power and cell service to millions. Donald Trump's already been there. In fact, brought in Elon Musk, and he brought in a lot of his satellite trucks to help restore communications. But Joe Biden will make his stop in Augusta, Georgia today. Ukrainian's military officials said forces are withdrawing from a frontline town of Volodar, perched atop a hill in the Ukraine 2 years after a grinding battle reclaimed it. The latest move for the Ukraine ground forces as Russia now continues to push further and further in, and we continue to fund more and more of it. Get more deeply involved with the Russian conflict. Vice presidential nominees J.D. Vance and Tim Walz use their time on the debate stage, really focus the bulk of their attacks not on one another, but on the top rivals of the tickets. Really not much last night that came out of that. CBS News said Donald Trump's declined an interview with 60 Minutes. I don't blame him after the last one he did when he talked about the fake news and the Russian collusion, and Leslie Stahl had a fit. Well, the president was proved right. It was all a made-up story. Hillary Clinton paid for it. The phony dossier. Trump said, I don't need 60 Minutes anymore. Snapchat's in the news. They have failed to act on rampant reports of child grooming, sextortion, and other dangers to minors on Snapchat's platform. Does it surprise any of us? The complaint against the company was filed by New Mexico's Attorney General. Filed in early September, the filing unveils internal messages among Snapchat's employees and executives that confirms that their harmful design features create an environment that will foster sextortion, sexual abuse, and unwanted content for adults and minors. Speaker Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, he's laying out a new 5-point policy agenda if Republicans are able to get the majority in the House next year, which includes tax cuts for you, approved by the president. He wants to reduce the size of the federal workforce and budget, and he wants to give parents more choice of where you can send your children to school and not let Democrats pick where your child is educated. During a speech in New York Stock Exchange, he provided this picture right now of a dismal U.S. economy and how we need to get a hand on it quickly. An attorney said now he is representing 120 accusers who have all come forward with sexual allegations against Sean Diddy Combs. That's up to 120 now. The attorney said 60 males, 60 females, 25 minors also now alleging misconduct as he's currently being held in prison and the judge won't let him out. Remember John Amos? Starred in Good Times, got an Emmy for Roots. He died. He was 84. He played James Evans Sr. on Good Times, which was a big hit. Also made appearances in All in the Family and The Jeffersons. He died yesterday at the age of 84. A San Diego doctor charged as part of the investigation into the overdose death of Matthew Perry. They expect him to plead guilty in federal court in L.A. Dr. Mark Chavez will appear in front of the judge today. He's agreed to plead guilty to 1 count to distribute ketamine. The Friends star died last year of an overdose of a surgical anesthetic. Chavez and 2 others have pleaded guilty in that case. The 12-month grace period for student loan borrowers came to an end on September 30th. That helped borrowers who were struggling make payments, avoid the risk of going default, hurting their credit score. That period and program that was known as Fresh Start that you also were paying for put that student loan payment on hold for these borrowers. Now they said borrowers should look into an income-driven repayment plan as they start to pay back their loans. Wall Street closed its latest winning month in the quarter with more records. The Dow added 17 yesterday. NASDAQ up 0.4. Federal Reserve is possibly going to offer more juice to the stock market with another cut possibly. However, things in the Middle East are adding tensions. Oil markets felt the pressure yesterday. Oil jumped a lot yesterday, up now to $73.56 a barrel. The Dow adds 17 points, NASDAQ 69, S&P up 24 points yesterday in the markets. And voting starts in the annual Fat Bear Week contest in Alaska. Starts today. Viewers able to pick your favorite among a dozen brown bears fattened up to survive the winter. They find them, take pictures of them, you vote on them. 10th year, over 2,200 brown bears live in this preserve at the Katmai National Park and Preserve alone. They're gorging on abundant sockeye salmon right now that return to the Brooks River, sometimes chomping them in midair. Organizers introduced this contest a day late because one of their participants was killed by another male bear, so they had to pick another contestant. But Fat Bear Week, as people in Alaska will pick the fattest bear. Last year, Bear 402 was one of the favorites, but one of the biggest ones ate 42 salmon in one day. Bear 504. It was a female. Mm-hmm. And
I met her on Snapchat.
Yep. Couldn't get enough to eat, Mark. Ate 42 salmon in 10 hours. This one's estimated to weigh 1,200 pounds as they gorge themselves before they head into the winter. Cat Country News Time is 6:49. Sports and weather next.
In sports, ladies basketball, WNBA regular season attendance was up 48% over the 2023 season. The WNBA averaged 9,807 fans per game in 2024, a healthy increase from last season's 6,615 per game. Thank you, Caitlin. We sure appreciate it. 2,353,000 fans attended WNBA games, And closer to home, I don't know the story, but it looks like Mandy Morales is not going to return as the girls' basketball coach at Huntley Project. And the story said she was sad because she's got a pretty good team she thinks is going to win it all, but didn't feel the institutional support, so not going to happen.
73 today. That is above average for this time of year. Tomorrow we go down to 65, and then on Friday back up to 83, and then on Saturday back down to 69. Little roller coaster weather pattern here for us. No rain anywhere in sight. We could use some of that. 62 now at 6:50, and that's a wrap. Mark and Paul Weird Wednesday today. Give you a chance to win some tickets to the Nile Rodeo coming up later this morning.